Hello, I'm Kimberly Gragston, COSA Program Director at the Community Justice Center here in Fresno. Our organization seeks to provide restorative justice opportunities for youth and adults in the Central Valley. The Circles of Support and Accountability program provides restorative reentry services to folks who've experienced long-term incarceration after committing serious and violent offenses. The first principle in trauma-informed care is safety. This means that every person, whether staff, community member, volunteer, or visitor, gets to feel physically, emotionally, and spiritually safe within our organization. Ensuring their safety is top priority. When folks encounter situations or circumstances that may provoke anxiety or they don't feel safe, it can cause re-traumatization, and we definitely don't want that within our communities. Safety also includes psychological, emotional, and spiritual safety. These factors can be overlooked and should be considered when we're talking about trauma-informed care. You might be asking yourself, where do I even start implementing this principle of safety? When so many folks that walk through our doors come from various different walks of life and have different experiences that we don't even know yet. A really great place to start is with physical safety, with the physical space. How does it feel when folks walk into the room? Are the areas well lit? Are the exits clearly marked? Is there an identified space within your building where folks can go for de-escalation? These are ways in which we can be proactive in thinking about our physical space. At the Community Justice Center, we often give new staff or volunteers and our clients just a tour of our building to let them know about where the common areas are, how do they access the restroom, where can they find snacks and food. That's always just a really warm way, or a really great way to warm up a space. Does our staff and our volunteers know how to access those extra supplies and those extra things that help bring us comfort and warmth to a particular space? An important question to consider while you're thinking about the physical space of your building or your congregation is to think about who gets to decide what feels safe. Trauma-informed care suggests that the person being served gets to decide. And so a really great practical way is maybe invite some folks who are survivors of trauma or folks who are already providing trauma-informed care to provide an inventory of your space. Walk through your building together. Is it warm? Is it welcoming? Are there areas that could have better lighting, better signs? Could the furniture be arranged in a way that would just help folks feel more physically safe? Equipping staff and volunteers is essential, and it's really a key component of creating safe environments for our communities. You can start by asking, what do my volunteers need to feel safe? Do they have access to resources and information to maybe help them process their own experiences and the experiences they have with others? Are they aware of our policies and procedures that are put in place to provide supportive environments? Do the policies and procedures need to be modified in order to create safe spaces for everybody? But the more that we inform our staff and empower folks with the right information, the more we can work together to create these safe spaces. One thing to consider is those that we're serving, do they have choice? Do they have agency with how they're exploring their relationship with God, with how they're connecting with God and with others? Folks that have experienced trauma often have questions around why. They're very big questions. Why did this happen? Who is to blame? What do I make of this? And sometimes there's even doubt. And so as we're a faith community in this area, are we providing safe spaces where folks can have the choice and the agency to explore those questions, to ask those questions in a space that is not judgmental, in a space where they can experience compassion and support? Agency and choice is crucial to folks who've experienced trauma, and that they would have that on their journey of healing and connecting with God and connecting with others. The church has an opportunity to provide support and compassion and grace in moments where folks are asking some of these really difficult questions. Often when somebody tells us about their traumatic experience, we respond with advice giving or something just to ease the pain in that moment. And while that's good intentioned, it's not sometimes the most helpful. And so a really great practical thing we can do is equip our staff, equip ourselves, and or the volunteers with just basic trauma information. How do we show up and create a space that's not judgmental, that creates an environment where folks can be vulnerable and experience support and care and not shame or judgment. One thing we really need to become more aware of is that we are in a place of power just by being an institution. Folks in our communities place leaders and the church in a place of spiritual authority. And that's really, really important for us to be aware of as we're beginning to implement these trauma-informed practices and care within our congregations. In many traumatic experiences, there's a power imbalance. And as the church, one of the ways we can bring healing or further step into this trauma-informed care is just acknowledge our power. Acknowledge that there is a power imbalance there, and sometimes naming that and owning that in our relationships, even to individuals and within the community, can bring healing to a relationship or a specific situation. And so that is one really great way, practical way to bring trauma-informed care to the work that you're doing. One of the beautiful things about our faith community is that there is a place for everybody. I think we value ourselves and being a place of belonging for folks. And this process of becoming a trauma-informed place, a community, there is no proper checklist. There is, it's a journey, it's a process that we take with one another, where we ask questions and we get feedback and we implement new practices. And that's part of the process, is learning together what feels safe for folks and what doesn't feel safe for folks. Responding to the needs, trying new things out, and going through that process together could be redeeming for folks that have never had the opportunity to share what feels safe for them. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or just not really sure where to start, that's like totally normal. And the beautiful thing is you have the resources within your faith communities. You have people with lived experiences. You have people who have survived things and who have helped other folks survive things. And I want to encourage you to tap into that and just start with one place. Just start with your physical safety, the physical spaces, or start with reaching out to folks who have a little bit more knowledge and experience than you do, and start building that checklist and just keep building and reevaluating. It's a circular process. It's not linear, it's circular, and it's actually quite beautiful. It's quite encouraging. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys implement these things in years to come.